Hey guys, it's Oluvids, and today I want to talk about Persona 4 Revival. Yes, just like Persona 3, Persona 4 now has a remake. So Atlus released a trailer for it back at the Xbox Showcase at Summer Game Fest, and well, yeah, it's definitely an early look. I mean, we got a view of the shopping district in Inama, but I mean, there's no NPCs at all, there's no UI, and U has a basic run animation. I mean, there is free cam, so that's new, I guess. And we also got a view of the school and the fields from the original game. And they also added the main menu theme of the original Persona 4 playing in the background. Of course, it's been announced that it's coming out for the Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC. But you know what? There's actually been no mention of the Switch 2, so we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, the main thing I want to talk about is my thoughts on Revival as someone who has played, Persona 4 already. And I guess, in general, if this is even worth existing. Anyway, let's start on with some things that just right off the bat I'd like to see, or at least I would hope it has. So for Persona 4 Remake, well, I mean, first of all, let's carry over all the new additions from Golden, like nighttime activities, mopeds, and planting, and all that type of stuff. I won't go super in depth into this because, me personally, I've only played the PS2 original version, so I don't even know the full extent of everything they added, but I know things like all the different activities you can do, and even a social link for Adachi, which wasn't in the original game, was added. Lots of different things like that. And yeah, I like that change in general, all those different changes, because it adds more ways to interact with the characters throughout the year. They're also probably going to add some voice acting for the social links, which would be cool. And I will say, considering this has some of the, in my opinion, better non-social links compared to the other Persona games, seeing them voice acted could make them come to life in a whole new way. You know, considering they did have voice acting in the anime versions of 4, I wonder if those guys will be brought back for the links, or if they're going to be entirely new actors, just like apparently everyone else in Persona 4. Anyway, story-wise, I mean, it's tricky. Me personally, just for the sake of a mystery, even for the old players, I'd do something crazy and change who the killer is. Like, I go full-on Final Fantasy VII Remake type writing right there and just, like, take the, the story in a completely different direction. But, I mean, it's most likely going to follow the original with maybe some slight tweaks here and there. I think the main problem is that, like, Golden has already added so much to Persona 4, and it's been the most widely available version for a while now. So I guess my question is, like, what's Revival going to add besides newer graphics that's going to make it worth it to go and spend $70 on this when you could get Golden for, like, 20 bucks? And yeah, like, for me as someone who has only played the original version, yeah, I mean, I could just go play Golden instead of spending all this money on Revival. I mean, like, in terms of the Persona 3 remake Reload, I think that one made more sense because the only way you're playing something like FES is if you're like emulating or if you have an actual PS2 or a PS3. But other than that, like, there's no official way to actually get it. Whereas now we have Persona 3 portable on every console, and it's cool and all. It added stuff, with FMC, but it's also definitely a compromised version of the game. You're not going to get a lot of what the actual experience of Persona 3 is supposed to be. So I understand that. Like, you made a whole remake, so you have the kind of compromised version here, and now you have kind of the proper Persona 3, but also now added on to that fact is with the modern graphics and all its additions. But for Persona 4, I mean, Golden is available on everything, even Nintendo. So it's like, do we need a remake? Like, is it just going to be Persona 4 but with Baton Pass, modern graphics, and some new voice acting? I mean, at the very least, I hope they completely overhaul the dungeons, because the dungeons in P4 are a lot more like palaces in concept, but I mean, in reality, they're just a reskin to Tartarus. I'd like for each dungeon to have its own gimmicks, along with a more varied level design. Something kind of like how a certain video game themed dungeon did in the game. I also want to include some more dialogue too, which could give us glimpses of some of these past experiences of these people. I always felt like the dungeons were actually lacking in a lot of character work, aside from like the beginning and end of it. In the middle would just be like some random dialogue. Anyway, in terms of the non-Shadow World section of the game, I think there's a couple things that I'd personally like to see added. For one, I know some people really like to get into memorizing character birthdays and all that. I think it would be a nice small feature to add in all the party members' birthdays, and if you remember what day it is, you can hang out with them solo or get the gang together to celebrate. I feel like this would make this friend group just feel a little bit closer to real life friends, and it would just be a nice little feature to add in general. maybe it could also benefit you gameplay wise by awarding a small amount of affinity points to everybody in one go. Another thing I personally would like to make it more of really feel like a new release rather than just a reskin of a game we have more content of. I would like if they added some more investigating and searching for the truth. There could be some more points in the story where you have to do more investigations, and I think what could be cool, maybe, potentially, is if maybe there are certain new characters that get framed for the murders, and from time to time you might have to find evidence to reveal the truth and prove them innocent. I just want to see some new features added to the game that makes it worth getting this over Golden. And especially as someone who's already played the game, I played it for the first time like last year, I know who the killer is, I know all the plot points already, so it's like, I don't know how much the main story is going to do for me again, especially if I gotta pay $70 for it. Like at most, maybe I'll pick up on some clues that get used to expose the killer later on in the game, but I mean, I've seen all of these character arcs, maybe I can do some more social links that I didn't complete, but I could just do that in Golden as well. But yeah, that last suggestion came to my mind because of a later section in the game where you do catch someone who seems like they really might be the killer, and it's up to the player to convince the party to take the right course of action. As someone who already had the killer spoiled for me, this actually caught me off guard, and I will admit I messed up on certain choices that need to be made, which led to the bad ending of the game. And that's when I already knew this person was not the killer. That section of the game and story is easily my favorite, and I'd love for the game to have more of that. Lastly, in terms of music, well, I wouldn't mind seeing what types of different remixes they can make. I'd prefer if they just stick to the original music if they're not going to do any type of new remix. Of course, there's probably going to be some new tracks too, though I also wonder if tracks from Golden are still going to be in there or if they're going to replace those. Anyway, I am excited for what new tracks they might have in too, because I won't lie, Reload had some bangers. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say. It's really things I'd like to see in the remake, as well as contemplating if the remake is even worth existing, since we have no information on this thing aside from you running and the voice actors being recast. Let me know if you're excited for Persona 4 Revival, whether you're a new fan or a Persona 4 veteran, and comment why too. I'd be interested to read it all. Alright, that's all for today. I'll see you guys next time.